The vast emptiness of space was suddenly broken by a flash of light. At the edge of Earth's solar system, a massive fleet of alien ships appeared out of nowhere. These weren't just a few spaceships. There were hundreds of them, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built. Back on Earth, it was just another quiet night at the Deep Space Monitoring Station in New Mexico. Sarah, a young scientist with messy hair and thick glasses, was sipping her third cup of coffee when her computer screen lit up with strange signals. At first, she thought it was a glitch, but as she looked closer, her eyes widened. "Hey, Mike," she called out to her coworker. "Come look at this." Mike, an older man with a gray beard, walked over. He leaned in, squinting at the screen. "What am I looking at, Sarah?" "I'm not sure," she said, her voice shaking a little. "But I think we just made first contact." Mike's jaw dropped. For a moment, the only sound in the room was the quiet beeping of the computers. Then, everything burst into action. Within hours, the news spread. Scientists from all over the world joined in to study the signals. They worked day and night, trying to understand what they were seeing. It wasn't easy. The signals were like nothing they had ever seen before. As days passed, more information came in. The fleet wasn't moving. It just sat there at the edge of the solar system. And the signals kept coming over and over again. "It's not random," Sarah told her team one day. "There's a pattern. I think it's a message." The world's best code breakers were called in. They worked around the clock, trying to crack the alien language. It was the hardest puzzle any of them had ever faced. Meanwhile, people all over Earth reacted to the news. Some were excited, dreaming of meeting aliens and learning about new worlds. Others were scared, worried that the aliens might be dangerous. Governments held emergency meetings. Military leaders made plans just in case. 2 weeks after the fleet appeared, there was a breakthrough. A young code breaker named Liu found the key to understanding the alien language. Slowly, word by word, they began to translate the message. As the translation became clearer, the mood in the room changed. The excited smiles turned to looks of concern. Sarah read the message out loud to the silent room. "To any intelligent life in this system, we are the Zarkon, travelers from distant stars. Our fleet is stranded. Critical systems have failed. We need help. Please, if you can hear us, respond. We mean no harm. We only seek aid in our time of need." The room was quiet for a long moment. Then Mike spoke up. "They're not invaders," he said softly. "They're castaways." The news spread quickly. The alien fleet, with technology far beyond anything on Earth, was stuck and asking for help. It was like a massive cruise ship losing power in the middle of the ocean and sending out an SOS to a small island with nothing but canoes. Debates started all over the world. Should humans help? Could they help? What if it was a trick? What if humans weren't advanced enough to do anything useful? But as the days passed and more messages came in, one thing became clear. The aliens were in real trouble. Their life support systems were failing. Without help, they would die out there in the cold emptiness of space. World leaders met in an emergency session at the United Nations. After long discussions, they made a decision. Humanity would try to help. A team was put together. The best engineers, the smartest scientists, and the most skilled astronauts from all over the world. Their mission: to make contact with the alien fleet and find a way to help them. As the team prepared for their journey, Sarah couldn't help but feel excited and scared at the same time. Humanity was about to meet aliens for the first time. And not just meet them, but try to save them. She looked up at the night sky, knowing that somewhere out there, an alien fleet was waiting, hoping for help from a planet they had never heard of before. It was the beginning of an adventure unlike anything in human history. The rescue mission was about to begin. The world watched as the team of Earth's best and brightest prepared for their journey. They called themselves the First Contact Crew, or FCC for short. Their mission was unlike anything humanity had ever attempted before. Dr. Emily Chen, a brilliant engineer with a knack for solving impossible problems, led the technical team. Captain Jamal Hassan, a veteran astronaut with nerves of steel, was in charge of the spaceflight, and Dr. Sophia Reyes, an expert in languages and communication, headed up the diplomatic efforts. As they trained, debates raged on Earth. Some people thought it was too dangerous to help the aliens. What if they attack us once we save them? They asked. Others argued that this was humanity's chance to prove itself on the galactic stage. Meanwhile, the alien fleet's situation grew worse. More distress signals came in, each one more urgent than the last. Finally, after weeks of preparation, it was time. The FCC boarded their spacecraft, the Hope, at Cape Canaveral. Millions watched the live broadcast as the countdown began. 10, 9, 8. The mission control announcer's voice rang out. Emily closed her eyes, feeling the rumble of the engines. 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. The Hope shot into the sky, leaving a trail of fire behind it. As they broke through Earth's atmosphere, Captain Hassan's calm voice came over the radio. Mission Control, this is Hope. We have achieved orbit. Cheers erupted in Mission Control and in living rooms around the world. The mission to save the aliens had begun. The journey to the edge of the solar system took weeks. The crew spent their time practicing alien languages, reviewing technical diagrams, and preparing for every possible scenario they could think of. As they got closer to the alien fleet, excitement and nervousness grew. What if we can't understand each other? Sophia wondered out loud one day. We'll find a way, Emily assured her. We always do. Finally, after what felt like years but was only a month, they arrived. The alien fleet came into view, and everyone on the Hope fell silent in awe. The alien ships were enormous, like floating cities in space. They were shaped like giant snowflakes, with glowing blue lines running along their sides. Despite their beauty, signs of distress were clear. Some ships were dark, their lights flickering weakly. Captain Hassan's steady voice broke the silence. Alien fleet, this is the Earth ship Hope. We received your distress call, and we're here to help. Do you copy? For a long moment, there was no response. The crew held their breath. Then, a voice crackled over the radio. It spoke in a strange musical language that none of them understood. Sophia jumped into action, feeding the alien words into her translation computer. After a few tries, she managed to set up a rough translation. Earth, ship, the alien voice said, sounding confused and hopeful at the same time. You come to help. Yes, Sophia replied carefully, making sure each word was translated correctly. We're here to help. Can you tell us what's wrong? What followed was a complex explanation that even Emily struggled to understand. But the main problem was clear. The aliens' main power source, something they called a quantum core, had failed. Without it, their whole fleet was slowly dying. The alien voice, which belonged to their leader, Admiral Zix, invited the humans to dock with their main ship. It was time for the first face-to-face meeting between humans and aliens. As the Hope carefully maneuvered towards the docking bay, the crew's hearts raced. What would the aliens look like? Would they be friendly? Could humans really help them? The docking clamps engaged with a loud clunk. Captain Hassan turned to his crew. Well, this is it. Let's make Earth proud. The airlock doors slowly opened. Standing on the other side were three tall, slender beings with shimmering pale blue skin and large dark eyes. They looked just as nervous as the humans felt. For a moment, both groups just stared at each other. Then Sophia stepped forward and raised her hand in a universal gesture of peace. Hello, she said softly. We're here to help. The alien in the middle mimicked her gesture. In a voice that sounded like singing wind chimes, it replied, Welcome, humans. Thank you for coming. And with those simple words, a new chapter in human history began. The rescue mission was now truly underway, and the fate of an entire alien civilization rested in human hands. The human crew followed the aliens into their ship. They walked through glowing corridors that seemed alive, pulsing with soft light. Emily couldn't help but touch the walls, feeling a gentle warmth under her fingers. Admiral Zix led them to a large room that looked like a mix between a garden and a control center. Strange plants with glowing leaves grew next to complex machines. In the center was a holographic display of the entire fleet. "This is our command center," Zix explained through the translator. "From here, we control all ships." Sophia listened carefully, adjusting the translator. "It's beautiful," she said. "But can you tell us more about what happened? Why are you stranded?" Zix's large eyes blinked slowly. "We were on a long journey to find new worlds." The alien leader began. "Our quantum cores power everything. Engines, life support, even gravity. But something went wrong. The cores started failing, one by one." Emily stepped forward, her curiosity overcoming her nervousness. "Can you show us one of these quantum cores?" Zix nodded and led them to another room. In the center was a dark, crystal-like object about the size of a car. It sat lifeless in a complex machine. "This is a quantum core," Zix explained. "It should be glowing with energy, but now—" The alien's voice trailed off sadly. Emily walked around the core, her mind racing. She had never seen technology like this before. It was far beyond anything humans had created. For a moment, she felt overwhelmed. How could they possibly help with something so advanced? But then she remembered something her old professor used to say. Every problem, no matter how complex, can be broken down into smaller, solvable parts. She turned to Zix. "Can you tell us exactly how it stopped working? What happened just before it failed?" As Zix explained, Emily listened carefully, asking questions. The other human crew members joined in, each bringing their own expertise. Hours passed as they learned about the alien technology. They discovered that the Zarkon, as the aliens called themselves, had been traveling for hundreds of years. Their civilization was ancient compared to humanity's. "Wait," Captain Hassan interrupted at one point. "If you've been traveling for so long, why didn't you have a backup plan for this?" Zix's skin changed color slightly, showing what might have been embarrassment. We never thought it could happen. Our cores had always been reliable. We became overconfident." The humans exchanged glances. It was a very human mistake, one they could understand all too well. As they continued to talk, the humans began to realize something surprising. While the aliens were far more advanced in many ways, they had specialized so much that they struggled to think outside their usual patterns. Emily noticed this when she suggested a simple fix for a minor problem. And the aliens looked at her in amazement. "We never thought of that," one of them said. Slowly, the humans began to see how they might be able to help. Their fresh perspective and ability to think creatively could be just what the aliens needed. But as they worked, another problem became clear. The alien fleet was huge, with millions of Zarkon on board, and their supplies were running low. "How long do we have before your life support systems fail completely?" Sophia asked Zix. The alien's answer was grim. "At our current rate, no more than 3 Earth months." The human crew looked at each other, the weight of the situation sinking in. They had to find a solution, and fast. Millions of lives depended on it. As they prepared to return to their ship to report back to Earth, Emily took one last look at the quantum core. She had an idea forming, but it was risky, very risky. "I think I might know a way to fix this," she said slowly. "But it's going to take everything we've got, and then some." The others looked at her, hope and worry mixing in their eyes. "Tell us," Captain Hassan said. As Emily began to explain her plan, the aliens listened in growing excitement. It was dangerous, it was difficult, but it just might work. The rescue mission was entering its most critical phase. The next few weeks would determine whether humanity could save an alien civilization or if they would fail and watch millions die. As they left the alien ship, each member of the human crew felt the enormous responsibility on their shoulders. But they also felt something else: determination. They were humanity's best, and they were ready to prove what humans could do. Back on Earth, Emily's plan caused a stir. Scientists and engineers from around the world gathered to hear her idea. The plan was bold, maybe even crazy, but it was the best hope they had. "We need to build a giant energy converter," Emily explained, pointing to a complex diagram. "It will take the quantum energy from the alien cores and transform it into something their systems can use again." The room buzzed with excitement and doubt. Building such a device would be hard enough on Earth. Making it in space, with limited time and resources, seemed almost impossible. But as Emily answered questions and explained the details, people began to see that it might just work. It would take the best minds from every country, working together like never before. World leaders met to discuss the plan. Some worried about sharing Earth's resources with aliens. Others saw it as a chance to prove humanity's worth to the galaxy. In the end, they agreed. Operation Quantum Leap, as they called it, was given the green light. Factories around the world started working round the clock. Rocket launches became daily events as materials and equipment were sent into space. The International Space Station became a busy construction site, with astronauts working in shifts to build parts of the giant converter. Meanwhile, on the alien fleet, the human crew worked closely with the Zarkon. They faced challenges every day as they tried to merge human and alien technology. One day, while working on a tricky connection, Emily dropped her tool. Instead of floating away in the zero gravity, it fell to the floor with a clang. "I thought there was no gravity here," she said, confused. The alien engineer, Kix, made a sound like tinkling bells, their version of laughter. "We create artificial gravity," Kix explained. "It makes life easier." Emily's eyes widened. "Can you turn it off?" Kix looked puzzled but did as asked. Suddenly, everything in the room started floating. Emily grinned. "I have an idea," she said. She explained that without gravity, they could move the heavy parts of the converter much more easily. It was a simple solution, but one the aliens hadn't considered. This kind of creative thinking from the humans often led to breakthroughs. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Cultural misunderstandings sometimes caused problems. Once, Captain Hassan made a joke that the translator couldn't handle. The aliens thought he was declaring war, and it took hours to clear up the confusion. As weeks passed, the converter slowly took shape. It was enormous, bigger than anything humans had ever built in space. From Earth, it could be seen as a bright point moving across the night sky, a symbol of hope and cooperation. But time was running out. The alien fleet's power was fading fast. Some ships had already gone dark, their inhabitants in deep sleep to conserve energy. One day, as they were testing a crucial component, alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed everywhere. "What's happening?" Sophia yelled over the noise. Admiral Zix's voice came through the translator, sounding worried. "Our main life support system is failing. We have less time than we thought." The news hit the team hard. They had been working non-stop for weeks, pushing themselves to the limit. Now, it seemed it might not be enough. Emily looked at the half-finished converter, then at her team. She saw exhaustion in their eyes, but also determination. "We can do this," she said firmly. "We've come too far to give up now." Captain Hassan nodded. "Emily's right. We need to push harder. We can sleep when we're done." They sent word back to Earth. More resources were needed, more people, more everything. The response was immediate. Countries that had been enemies for years now worked side by side. Every rocket, every ship, every bit of technology that could help was sent their way. As the human crew redoubled their efforts, they felt the weight of two civilizations on their shoulders. Earth was watching. The Zarkon were counting on them. Failure wasn't an option. The race against time entered its final, most critical phase. Could humanity pull off the greatest engineering feat in its history and save an alien civilization? The next few days would tell. The next few days were a blur of activity. The human crew worked around the clock, taking short naps in shifts. Emily barely remembered the last time she had a full meal or a proper sleep, but there was no time to rest. Every second counted. As they raced to finish the converter, problems kept popping up. Parts didn't fit together right. Systems refused to sync. It was like trying to solve 1,000 puzzles at once, while the clock ticked down. One day, as Emily was elbow-deep in wires, trying to connect human tech to alien systems, she heard a loud pop. Sparks flew, and smoke filled the air. The main control panel had blown out. No, 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 Emily cried, frantically trying to fix it. But it was fried. They needed a new one, and fast. Captain Hassan's voice crackled over the radio. Earth says the replacement panel is still 2 days away. Emily's heart sank. They didn't have 2 days. The alien fleet's power was fading fast. Some ships were already running on emergency systems only. That's when Sophia had an idea. What if we use one of the alien panels? She suggested. We could rewire it to work with our systems. It was risky. No one had ever tried to make human and alien tech work together like this before. But they were out of options. With Admiral Zix's permission, they took apart an alien control panel. Emily and the alien engineers worked side by side, figuring out how to make the two technologies talk to each other. It was like trying to make a phone call using a coconut and some string, but slowly it started to work. As they got closer to finishing, tension grew. Everyone knew they would only get one shot at this. If the converter didn't work, there wouldn't be time to try again. Finally, after what felt like years but was only a few days, it was ready. The converter stood before them, a massive structure of metal and lights, human ingenuity and alien technology combined. It's time, Emily said, her voice shaky with exhaustion and nerves. The crew gathered in the control room. Humans and aliens stood side by side, all holding their breath. Emily's hand hovered over the activation switch. Here goes nothing, she muttered, and flipped the switch. For a moment, nothing happened. Emily's heart dropped. But then, slowly, lights began to flicker on the converter. A low hum filled the air, growing louder. On the main screen, energy readings started to climb. The quantum cores were responding. Cheers erupted in the control room. Humans hugged each other, and even the normally reserved aliens were making joyful sounds. But their celebration was cut short. Alarms started blaring, and the ship shook violently. What's happening? Captain Hassan shouted. Admiral Zix's voice was urgent. The energy transfer is too strong. It's overloading our systems. Emily rushed to the controls, her fingers flying over the alien keyboard. She had to balance the energy flow before it tore the ships apart. Shut it down, someone yelled. No, Emily shouted back. If we shut it down now, we'll never get it started again. We have to see this through. The ship shook harder. Warning lights flashed everywhere. For a terrifying moment, it seemed like everything might fall apart. But Emily didn't give up. With sweat dripping down her face, she made adjustment after adjustment. Slowly, the alarms quieted. The shaking stopped. On the main screen, the energy level stabilized. One by one, systems across the alien fleet came back online. Ships that had been dark for weeks lit up again. A stunned silence fell over the control room. Then Admiral Zix spoke, his voice filled with awe. You did it. You saved us. The room erupted in cheers again, louder than before. Humans and aliens alike were crying, laughing, hugging each other. They had done the impossible. As the celebration went on around her, Emily sank into a chair, exhausted but happy. She looked out the window at the now glowing alien fleet, then back at her human crewmates and their new alien friends. In that moment, she realized they had done more than just save the Zarkon. They had opened the door to a new era for humanity, an era of interstellar friendship and cooperation. The rescue mission was a success, but their adventure was far from over. It was, in many ways, just beginning. The success of the energy converter was just the beginning. As the alien fleet regained power, new challenges arose. The Zarkon ships, dormant for so long, needed extensive repairs. Systems that had been shut down for weeks had to be carefully restarted. Emily and her team found themselves busier than ever. They moved from ship to ship, helping the aliens bring their vast fleet back to life. It was exhausting work, but also exciting. Every day brought new discoveries about alien technology. One day, while working on a particularly tricky engine, Emily made a startling discovery. Captain Hassan. She called out, "You need to see this." The captain floated over in the zero-gravity environment. "What is it, Emily?" Emily pointed to a strange, swirling device at the heart of the alien engine. I think this is how they travel faster than light." The implications were enormous. If humans could understand this technology, it would change everything. Space travel, energy production, even the nature of physics itself might need to be rethought. But as the humans excitedly discussed the possibilities, they noticed the aliens growing quiet and nervous. Admiral Zix approached them, looking uncomfortable. We are grateful for your help," the alien leader said. "But this technology, it is not something we can share. It is too powerful, too dangerous in the wrong hands." The mood in the room instantly changed. Some of the humans felt betrayed. After all they had done, the aliens weren't willing to share. Captain Hassan, seeing the tension rise, stepped in. "We understand, Admiral. We respect your decision." But not everyone was so understanding. Back on the human ship, arguments broke out. Some crew members felt they had a right to the alien technology. Others sided with the aliens, saying it wasn't their place to demand such advanced knowledge. As the debate raged, Sophia noticed something strange. The aliens were preparing their ships as if getting ready to leave. She brought this to Captain Hassan's attention. "I think they're planning to go as soon as the repairs are done," she said, without even saying goodbye. The captain frowned. This wasn't how he wanted things to end. He called for a meeting with Admiral Zix. In the alien command center, humans and Zarkon faced each other awkwardly. The friendly atmosphere of the past weeks was gone, replaced by tension and mistrust. "Admiral," Captain Hassan began, "we've noticed your preparations to leave. Is this true?" Zix's skin shimmed, a sign of discomfort. "Yes, we are grateful for your help, but we feel it is time for us to go. Our ways are too different. It is better this way." Emily couldn't hold back any longer. "But we've worked so well together. We've learned so much from each other. Are we really going to throw all that away?" Her words seemed to strike a chord. Both humans and aliens fell silent, considering. Then, unexpectedly, one of the younger aliens spoke up. "She's right," it said. "We owe the humans our lives, and they have shown us new ways of thinking, new ways of solving problems. Perhaps we have something to learn from each other." A murmur went through the alien group. Slowly, heads nodded in agreement. Admiral Zix looked thoughtful. "Perhaps we have been too hasty. You humans have indeed shown great ingenuity and kindness. Maybe there is a middle ground." Over the next few hours, humans and aliens talked openly about their fears and hopes. They came to understand each other better. By the end, a new plan had formed. The Zarkon would not share their most advanced technology, but they would stay for a while, teaching humans about space travel and helping to advance Earth's science. In return, humans would share their unique problem-solving skills and their art, music, and culture. As the meeting ended, the mood had completely changed. Excitement filled the air again. Humans and aliens alike were eager to learn from each other, to explore the galaxy together. Emily looked out at the stars, a big smile on her face. The rescue mission had turned into something much bigger, much more important. It was the beginning of a beautiful friendship between two very different civilizations. The adventure, it seemed, was just getting started. In the months that followed, Earth changed in ways no one could have imagined. The presence of the Zarkon fleet in orbit became a normal sight in the night sky. People would look up and wave, knowing their new alien friends were watching over them. On the ground, things were changing fast. Zarkon teachers came down to Earth, setting up classes in universities around the world. They taught about the wonders of the universe, sharing knowledge that human scientists had only dreamed of before. Emily found herself busier than ever. She split her time between Earth and the alien fleet, working on new projects that combined human and Zarkon technology. One day, she was helping design a new type of clean energy plant. The next, she was in space, learning how to navigate through star systems. Sophia, with her gift for languages, became the head of a new department of alien communications. She worked tirelessly to improve the translation systems, making it easier for humans and Zarkon to talk to each other. Captain Hassan took on a new role too. He became Earth's first ambassador to the Zarkon, helping to build trust between the two species. It wasn't always easy. There were still some people on both sides who were scared of the other. But slowly, things got better. One sunny day, about a year after the rescue, Emily stood in a field outside her hometown. She was there for the opening of the first human Zarkon Science Center. As she watched the ribbon-cutting ceremony, she couldn't help but smile. Next to her, Admiral Zix's skin shimmered with happy colors. "I never thought I'd see something like this," the alien leader said. Emily nodded. "Me neither, but I'm glad we did." Just then, a group of school children ran by, laughing and playing. Some were human, some were young Zarkon. They were all friends, not caring about the differences between them. "Look at them," Sophia said, joining Emily and Zix. "They're the future." As they watched the children play, a loud sound filled the air. Everyone looked up to see a sleek spacecraft rising into the sky. It was the first ship built together by humans and Zarkon. Its mission: to explore nearby star systems. Captain Hassan's voice came over the loudspeakers. He was leading this first joint mission. "To all those watching," he said, "this is a historic day. We're taking our first steps into the galaxy together. Who knows what we'll find out there?" The crowd cheered as the ship disappeared into the blue sky. Emily felt a lump in her throat. She remembered how this all started, with a desperate rescue mission. Now, humans and Zarkon were partners, friends, exploring the universe side by side. As the day went on, there were speeches and celebrations. Leaders from Earth and the Zarkon fleet talked about the bright future ahead. But for Emily, the best part was seeing how normal it all felt. Humans and aliens mingled, chatted, and laughed together like old friends. That night, there was a big party. Music from Earth and Zarkon played as people and aliens danced under the stars. Emily looked around at her friends, both human and alien. She saw Sophia teaching a group of Zarkon how to do the Macarena. Captain Hassan was there too, via video call from the new ship, raising a toast to everyone back home. As the party went on, Emily slipped away for a moment. She found a quiet spot and looked up at the sky. The Zarkon fleet was there, shining alongside the stars. But now, Earth ships were up there too. Together, they were a symbol of what was possible when different cultures worked together. Emily thought about everything that had happened. The scary first meeting, the hard work to save the fleet, the arguments, and finally, the friendship that grew from it all. It had been quite a journey. As she stood there, a shooting star streaked across the sky. Emily smiled and made a wish, not for herself, but for the future of humans and Zarkon together. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew they would face them side by side. The rescue mission was long over, but the greatest adventure was just beginning.